podcast, You Rock. We appreciate it very much. Let's talk health this afternoon. More specifically, hair loss. It really does impact millions of people and can develop from a variety of causes. Finding the cause of hair loss can determine whether there is a treatment or not. The medical term for hair loss is alopecia, and it affects both men and women. The month of August is Hair Loss Awareness Month, and we're bringing in a board-certified dermatologist to break down the condition. So happy to have Dr. Allison Sindel back with us on Heartland Afternoon. You are always a blast to talk to and always so talented at what you do. Whenever we talk about this, are there different types of hair loss?
There are numerous types of hair loss.
Okay.
So it's one of the most common things I see in the clinic. It's also one of the most distressing because when we lose our hair, it loses a part of who we are. And so there are numerous types, from types that come with stress to types that come from genetic conditions or family history, types that come from autoimmune diseases, vitamin and mineral deficiencies. I could go on and on. The list is huge.
So, I mean, how do you differentiate? I know before the show we were talking about how you you were saying you like to actually look at people's scalps.
Yes, yes. I like to look at the scalp. Sometimes I'll do blood work. I like a full history. I like to know all about them and what they've done to their hair, the products they use, all of that type of stuff. Sometimes I'll do a biopsy. It really truly is starting with an examination and moving on from there. And
what are some of the misconceptions that you see surrounding balding?
Yeah.
Or just losing hair?
One is that there's no treatment or there's no cure, because a lot of times we can do things to treat it. The other is that it makes a huge difference in who you are as a person. You're still who you are. We can get you feeling yourself. I don't want it to, affect your identity. I want you to still be confident in yourself.
And I mean, you often hear about folks who say, well, I wore that baseball cap too much and now there goes my hairline. Is that a misconception?
That is a misconception. So that typically is a genetic type of hair loss that runs in families. So when you start to lose your hair kind of at the temples or you're starting to see that hairline receding, it's not due to your ball cap. It's usually related to your genetics.
And to the folks who love to wake up every single morning, present themselves and make sure that they look pretty for everybody, can overstyling cause that?
It can. That's a really great point. So using too many heat products or products that cause damage to your hair can definitely cause some problems over time. So yes, you want to be cautious with that. You want to be gentle to your hair. Try to wash your hair appropriately, protect it from heat products. Try not to put too much tension on it. If you're really pulling it back with like a really tight bun or into really tense hairstyles, that can make a huge difference too.
Now, the type of products that you're using, we were talking about the heat, but if you're using too much, I guess, like hair gel for the gentleman, would that be a big...
Honestly, hair gel's okay. As long as you're washing it out appropriately and not letting too much product buildup happen, hair gel I'm okay with. It's more so the hot tools and really, really harsh chemicals like bleaching agents and things like that.
So what's the most common type of hair loss that you see in your profession?
Yeah, I'd say there's probably two. One is called androgenetic alopecia. That's the kind that runs in families, so that's incredibly common. The other one is called telogen effluvium, so fancy term.
Say that one more time.
Telogen effluvium.
Effluvium.
So telogen means our hair's falling out. Effluvium means the loss of a lot of hair. So telogen effluvium is the type of hair loss that happens after a stressful event. So if you've had a really bad illness, a febrile illness, if you have had childbirth or a surgery or something like that, you may notice that in a few months your hair starts to shed in large amounts in the shower. So you'll notice it in the drain. You'll notice it in a brush. That's a very distressing form of hair loss, but it's transient. It's something that's just related to a stressful event. You shed a little too much than you should, and then it comes back. Those hair follicles are healthy.
Okay, and I mean, obviously that's something really scary when you look down and see your scalp pretty much in the drain.
Exactly.
And whenever we talk about, as well, the products that we're using in our hair, when it comes to shampoo, what should people really be using?
Yeah, honestly, you want to use a gentle shampoo for the most part. You want to use a gentle shampoo and a conditioner, making sure to condition well. But if you're struggling with hair loss, anti-dandruff shampoos can actually be quite helpful even if you don't have dandruff.
Not using them every day too.
Correct. That's super important. I know we were chatting about that earlier. They're very drying to the scalp. So using it a couple times a week is super important. They have anti-inflammatory properties in them. So ingredients like ketoconazole, selenium sulfide, zinc pyrithione, those are the products that are in Nizoral, Head & Shoulders, and Selsun Blue. They really help to calm inflammation on the scalp and can promote a healthy environment for hair growth.
And they're okay to throw into your routine?
Exactly. That's the best way to do it, actually, is to rotate it in.
So even though you're using a different set of shampoos, it's okay to have a day where you're just like, okay, I'm just going to use like Head & Shoulders, for example.
Exactly. That's actually the best way to do it. So you're still getting that hydrating shampoo on other days and you're not over drying your scalp.
Well, the more you know. With the expert herself, Dr. Allison Sindel, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
And thank you for sharing your knowledge with all of us here on Heartland Afternoon. We'll be sure to have more of the show, hopefully, after the break. Be sure